morning, everyone. Hey, Carmen.
Good morning.
Just waiting on people to filter in. We should be getting started in like 5 minutes.
Sounds good. Loving these tunes, Nova.
Thank you.
You can see David's got his hand up.
Hey, David. Good morning.
Is my mic working?
Yep.
Nope. All right. Should we get cracking? Yeah.
Let's go.
Cool. Right. So I think I hinted at some sort of alpha this week that will be dropped. So with the tech team have been working really hard on getting everything set up for the great box opening. What are we calling it now, Carmen?
Unboxing.
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 The great unboxing.
Not the great opening.
Not the great opening. The great unboxing. And just like everything we do, we want to be 100% sure before we start releasing dates and official information. And one thing I'm really allergic to is setting dates and then not hitting those dates. So I tasked them with giving me a 100% for sure date by the end of the week, and they have come back with the 1st of December for the unboxing, which I am stoked with and really, really looking forward to.
I thought you were going to say Boxing Day.
Boxing Day. Well,
ironically.
It would have been cool if it lined up with that, but I think everybody would have lost their collective minds if we delayed it that long.
True. There might actually be another Boxing Day thing. Maybe.
Really? No. There could be. Actually, come to think of it, Aaron.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point.
Leak it.
No.
No. Yeah.
I got you guys back. Yep. Nova and I want leaks too.
So Jenny Bryan's are 1st of December. So put it in your calendar. Carmen will and Nova will update all the socials and put out some posts for that.
Yeah, awesome. Can't wait. It's going to be such a great thing to see how people kind of get out and start configuring their little A for All Stars. I don't remember seeing another drop that has allowed this kind of pre-mint configurability before in the same way. The mix of kind of rarity traits and configurability. So it's going to be quite a cool experiment to see what people come up with and how creative they are and what sort of aesthetics they want to have for their teams, and if they're lucky enough to get the items they want to make those things.
Yeah, it's a completely new approach, but the way you train these AIs is you kind of form a connection to them because you're watching them learn from scratch how to do something. So it's a bit more than just a random character that you you buy off the market, that you rolled on the marketplace. Creating that deeper connection with them and having it as yours and unique to you that you've customized and put effort into is an approach that I like for them.
Yeah, really, really interesting, and kind of even in terms of how the brain evolves and getting people to kind of watch the progression of their own character through its kind of journey of becoming an all-star, I think, is going to be quite a fascinating thing for people to kind of engage with emotionally as well.
Yeah.
I feel like AFA games or AFA characters will be like much more loved than characters that you might have rolled in what do we want to call non-AI games now? We need because we have flathead PFPs for the folks who roll the kind of 2D art style PFPs. We need like a name like that for non-AIs.
Dumb. I don't know, man.
So inventive, David.
Thanks.
Let's put that out to the community. Come up with the equivalent of flatheads for game characters that are not AFAs.
Yeah.
That are not ASMs.
Not AIs.
Have you talked anything about how and maybe this is me leaking something, how AFAs are going to show up in OpenSea once they're minted?
So the as in the fully 3D rigged characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of that. So we've got some stretch goals around some features. So maybe we can't go into too much detail.
Okay.
But
all right.
But they won't just be videos of the characters. They'll be fully interactive and rigged 3D models, which is really cool because we can start to see some of that emergent stuff that you get from that the NFT space are just starting to touch on, where people are taking their artwork that they now own. And using it for other purposes, like the fluff competition where people were animating the fluffs and all that stuff was really cool. So releasing the files to enable people to do that, I think, is going to become the new standard.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to leak too much, but if we pull that stretch goal off, it's going to be like 3, first times in one day for the unboxing, which I think is going to be pretty epic.
Yeah. We aim high and we deliver.
Sweet.
Cool.
How's everything else going? Is there any other updates in terms of kind of tech or other things? I mean, we could let people know we're kind of getting closer to having a date as well for the token release.
Yes. Yeah. So the priority's been to get the unboxing done. And in parallel to that, we've had the token release. Those are really important to get right and get secure and get the distribution curves right. And we're consulting our investors, 4RC and Delphi, on that. And then we've also got to get the contracts peer audited as well. Once they've been finalized. So a few things have to sync up before we can give a solid date on that, but it's in progress.
You also gave a little leak of the brain yesterday. One of many brains, sorry.
Yeah, so these are going to be really cool. It's important that you can look at your brain, your individual unique one brain, and it actually be unique, and actually see and be able to over time see what personalities are based on just looking at it, or at least sort of categorize them and group them into abilities based on how they look. So the team has built the system and got AI involved, of course, in order to create the unique one of ones that are representative of how the brain will actually function. So you've seen a little bit of a peek into that with the colors and the topography of the brain in the Lex channel that Carmen put up. And there'll be other tools to go in and inspect and dive deeper into how that brain is laid out and how its personality is relevant, which is really cool.
Yeah, really awesome. Really looking forward to how people kind of it's kind of in a similar vein to how we've thought about nimbus, right? So it's how do you kind of visualize something that's ethereal, like music, and put that in the context of intelligence and make sure that it's something that people can find engaging visually, but also kind of useful in the way that they select as they're kind of browsing brains.
Yeah. Awesome. Looks like we've got a question. Hip hopper. Let's dive into it.
Yep. So as always, if I invite you up before your chance to speak, please just mute your microphone. Hey,
Hi guys, thanks so much. Cheers. My question actually comes from a friend of mine. I was having dinner with a couple of friends last night, and I was trying to explain about how this sort of generative AI thingy spider works to create the art. And I know that ASM, it might be more of a question for Fluff World, so maybe I should, but we'll see. It applies to ASM as well, I think. But she's an art student.
We're friends anyway, so
we are. She's an art student, and she was asking me, how does the spider know? What does it go on in order to create this work of art? And correct me if I'm wrong at this point, but I was saying that maybe they sort of take existing artworks, they plug that into the AI, and it spits out, and each different individual spider has its own algorithm by which it does that. And then she was immediately making a really good point, actually, about appropriation and how this artwork that is being taken about. There's really interesting conversations at the moment about taking other people's art, even in a sort of AI way of doing it. And is that because I know, of course, on the team you guys have Indigenous New Zealand.
We are, and both David and I are. Yeah.
So no doubt it's something that you're culturally sensitive to and aware of. But I just wondered if you could talk about that, maybe just to kick off with a lighthearted question there.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, I think, first of all, we haven't released the full mechanics on how thingies generate art, so that's probably a bit of speculation. Certainly the way that the thingies fur was generated was using the inspiration of existing artwork. And this kind of notion, I guess, of appropriation is a tricky one, and you want to be, cognizant of all of the implications of doing anything in that domain. I think you have to also be aware of the fact that everything in life and in art is inspired by something, and so whether there's no single artist out there that hasn't looked at other people's work, whether that's scratchings on a wall or a Rembrandt or whatever, and thought, had an influence in the way that their mind has developed, and therefore the art that's been created around them and or by them. And so I think ASM, if it was using that kind of process, is no different to a person observing the world and then finding inspiration in the world around them. And that, I think that's kind of a good way to look at how you can approach making sure that the way that it's done is reflective of humanity. We all are inspired by the things around us. We all have, the minute those photons hit our eyeballs when we've seen a piece of art, that is now part of our brain, and it's going to affect the way we think and see the world, and therefore the way we create art. And I think also kind of going down the track a little bit, if we want a danger there on appropriation, I think the most important thing is to be respectful about the way you do things, because if we don't have appropriation, let's call it the negative word, then we don't have culture evolving, because everything in the world is an evolution of something else and a derivative of something else. And so if we don't have the ability to take inspiration, which is a better word, I think, than appropriation, from the past and from other cultures and from other people's works, then we don't move forward as humanity. We get stuck in a rut, and worse, we don't integrate cultural ideas into the way humanity evolves. And a better human experience is one where we do take the best of everyone's cultures and thinking and style and viewpoints, and then create something better for humanity out of that. So, and the line in terms of inspiration and appropriation, I think, comes very squarely down on respect. Make sure that the way that you're approaching that is respectful, because without it, we don't move as a culture, and also it'd be a pretty shitty, bland, vanilla planet that we lived on if we couldn't take inspiration from each other as we move forward in humanity.
Completely agree. I really appreciate you pushing the answer towards that kind of tentative area as well, because I mean, there's lots of good, intelligent conversations that can be had, but of course, there is always the danger that some people will. But I think that's
it's a sensitive topic, and the reason it's sensitive is because people have been plundered in the past, so you don't want to take that forward into any work that you're doing. But at the same time, how can you make something truly beautiful that reflects humanity without including all of humanity in the thought process?
Respect, man. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. Good question.
Thanks so much. Hey, PJ Fluff the Glitch.
Hey, it's a glitchy boy.
Hi.
Glitchy boy. Yeah.
Hi. Thank you for putting me up first, because obviously I'm from the UK, so I'll probably be falling asleep at some point and listening to the rerun.
Our docile tones.
I can't say how grateful I am to everyone, the whole team, obviously for the fact that I managed to be very lucky and get the glitch box. But I've been, I have updates from my daughter, who's 10, has got a rare box. My son's got an original, and they're constantly sort of saying, when's the great unboxing? When can I put my team together? How's it all going to work? And obviously the questions I keep asking everyone in the Discord. So they'll be pleased with the updates in the morning. But I've got sort of two questions. One hopefully will be a little bit easier than the other. The first question is, in terms of if you've got a few boxes and you want to, when you unbox, you want to kind of move players or traits or special characters between sort of teams of 4, so sort of mix them up. Is that easy to do? And is that done in kind of a central UI, or is that sort of, do you have to pay gas to do that between kind of, on the mainnet?
So the assembling of teams are done at the execution level in the game. So it'll look at your wallet, see what teams you have available, and then you can make up your team within the execution environment, which will cost no gas. You can then externally to that bundle a team up as a bundle to sell, but the teams themselves can be mixed and matched without having to spend gas on it. You can also,
as long as they're in the same wallet. So all the gas you'd have to spend would be to move players to the same wallet.
That's right. Yeah.
If you had a bunch of boxes, like say if you opened 3 boxes and there was a trait in one of them that you liked and a character in another, you could move one of the characters into, like, you could sort of apply the traits to that character but not to another one.
No.
Yes. So not the traits, but the brains themselves. So if you see a brain that you like, you can say, I'm going to pair that up with this character because I like the style of this character, or I want an all zombie team. So I'm gonna put brains in all my zombies and make them into a team. And then you can clip in and out which brains you want in which AFA character within the execution environment, so free of gas.
So, but as far as I understand,
the box is only for those 4 characters in that box.
Yeah. So you open that box, you configure those traits, and then that mints your team. And then once you mints your 4 characters, and once you've minted those characters, then you can swap those characters around to play in different teams. But the only exception to that, I think it's been already released, is the morph trait, right?
So, the individual characters have their traits are set.
Yes.
Set in
No,
stone.
but my point is you can mix and so if you unbox 4 characters, you get a set of accessories with that, which you can then attach to the characters.
Yeah.
At the unboxing time and customize them. But and that's 1-to-1. So the accessories in one box apply to the characters in one box. But after the mint has taken place, you can move those characters in between teams in the game environment. But also there is a rare trait, the morph trait, which allows you to do something extra with switching character traits.
Yeah, you can switch more traits, including the body of the character.
Yeah.
With the morph trait.
So it's more to show on that too.
Yeah.
And is there any benefit in moving? Like, so obviously you have one brain initially until you do the liquidity provision and the staking to get more brains. But when you first start, is there any benefit in, if you've got 4 boxes, assigning a brain to each of your original characters, or does that not really have any benefit because the game won't have been released at that point?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Okay. And so my second question, which I'm happy if it's to send me away and do some homework, I just wondered if you could give me some kind of tips on where I can try and get a little bit more excitement and insight into what might be in my box.
No, it's the short answer. I mean, there's like the rarity tables, which kind of have some inclination of what traits are at what levels, right?
He's got a glitch, the glitch box.
Yeah, glitch is definitely not for glitch. There are so many people who want that glitch box. Every time I talk to like a bunch of ballers in the space, they're like, what's happening with the glitch? What's the glitch? How's the glitch going to work? What are the traits for the glitch?
I've been watching, I hadn't watched Altered States, Altered Carbon, so I've been watching those and slowly working my way through those, but I'm kind of looking at for any idea about something within that would give me a clue, but obviously nothing seems to translate to what I'd expect from iPhone.
That's that's something that the team are working to make sure is a special experience, but we're definitely not leaking.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
It's going to be
so much everyone. Really, really appreciate it. And the community is amazing. It's like one of the, along with Fluff, it's one of the nicest places to just chat and catch up. But everyone in there seems so friendly and positive, which is great.
Thanks so much.
Thanks again.
Thank you. You guys make it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Hey, Chip.
How you going?
Nice to see you.
Hi, guys. Just wanted 2 quick comments. Well done on the collab and the thingies. What a great project. Loving them. So you must be really stoked about how they turned out.
Oh, they're beautiful.
I'm so stoked. Yeah, I mean, they're just like, they're literally works of art. Each one is a piece of art, and it's so cool, even without all of the utility that's coming for thingies. Just the artwork themselves and looking at all the different unique patterns and the bags and stuff like that. I just love browsing because it's so cool. Just, oh shit, that's awesome. Or that painting that's behind that one's awesome.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm just curious, are you equally as hyped about Party Bears?
I don't know. Who's Party Bears?
I don't know what to say. I don't know.
What even is Party Bears?
I don't know. We're hoping you'd be able to tell us something.
Party
They
Man
sound cool.
I think I've been telling our Fluff Discord for a month now. Something. That's as far as I'll go.
Okay, good. Love it.
But nothing more to say. Nothing more to say. Watch this space, please.
Can't wait to jam out to some Party Bears.
Thanks so much, Chip. Hey, welcome to the stage, Jaxo boy.
How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Just say that I'm enjoying following this project. The use cases sound pretty cool. But my question is, What sort of education or resources, skills would you guys recommend to members of this community to really get the most out of our ASM brains?
So the for the AFA game, for example, we're making that on ramp into gamified machine learning really, really easy. The training side of it will be as simple as pressing a button. We'll have some little things that you can tweak and have some influence over it, but we understand the introduction of technology like this needs some explanation behind it and how it works, and we want people to get involved in the mechanism discovery and really enjoy the process of interacting with AI. If you're wanting to go down the route of developing on the platform, then definitely look into things like machine learning and reinforcement learning. I think platforms like Unity have a whole bunch of really fun resources that you can play around with in the machine learning space. And they're made to be it's made to be the first platform that we're integrating into Altered State Machine. So depending on what your angle is, it can be as easy as just clicking a button, or you can get really deep into how machine learning works and build your own experiences on the platform.
Yeah, no, that answers my question. Yeah, it's more around the dev side. I mean, like being more than just a user, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, Unity is such a cool tool to play around with, and there's so much resources out there for the dev community, and for people just picking it up and wanting to adopt it from scratch. So I highly recommend it.
If you're in the community and you have ideas and you want to start putting things forward for the protocol, then once we get the tech specs and stuff out like that, then that's the kind of thing we want to see as well. So if you are a developer and you're like, hey, I'd like to try doing this, then definitely hit us up, because we want to support you guys on that journey and create as many awesome and different experiences for ASM brains as possible.
Thanks, team.
Cool. Thanks, Ray.
Cheers.
Thanks so much. Hey, Tybo.
Hey guys, I came a little bit late, so I'm not sure if I'm asking the same question again. But I guess it's probably an obvious assumption to make that these gas fees are getting pretty ridiculous. What layer 2 are you guys considering with the AFIFA, and how will that work with the ASTO token? Because I assume when you do want to use the ASTO token for the play to earn mechanics and whatever else utility, will that be on the main chain, or what are you guys considering?
Yeah, it's a good question. We definitely will be making sure that the play to earn mechanics exist on a layer 2, because the nature of those transactions means that you can't be paying $100 in gas to have a match. So that's definitely something the team's already working on. AFA as a protocol is designed to be chain agnostic, and so we're it's not like we have to do a whole bunch more research or engineering on the protocol side to figure out how we get that part of it working properly. The actual layer 2 that we'll release AFA on isn't something that we've disclosed yet, and once we get closer to the game launch, we'll start to provide more details on that, so everyone can kind of get ready to play. But
awesome.
to answer your question simply, yes, we're aware that gas is an issue, and we're not going to make the mistake of having people be subject to paying those massive gas fees for those very transactional activities.
Yeah.
Awesome. So have you guys announced the liquidity mining event yet, or is that still a ways out?
So the date we gave today was the date for the unboxing, which is the 1st of December. The date for the token liquidity mining hasn't been released yet, but the team are making really great progress on the work to get it live. And as soon as we have some clarity around things like audit dates and stuff like that, we'll be able to give the community an update. but aim is still to have it all live before Christmas.
All right, cool. So December looks like a good Christmas. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Love the fluffs, love the thingies, and love the brains. Can't get enough of it.
Man.
Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, Reed and Bessie the Beast, I've invited you both up. You just have to accept the request. Hey, Taffy, welcome to the stage.
Hey, thank you so much. Greetings from California.
Hey.
I have a quick question. I have 3 brains, and I was contemplating getting a 4th one to make my whole team. And I apologize if this question has been answered, but can these Genesis brains be wiped clean? Like if I assign them to a character and they learn the game, they be pretty good at it, but I want to do something else with them. Can I wipe them clean, or should I, use my brain to mine more brains, or get Astro to mine more brains to have 4 for the game? And go from there.
Even better. None of those 2, but even better. Your brains can contain multiple skills. So you can be great at AFA, and you can be awesome at another game, and you can be awesome at a chatbot, and you can be awesome at doing AI art. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you guys so much. That was it.
You just train a new memory.
Very nice. Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Ray.
Cheers.
Thanks so much.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for speaking. I just have a quick question. So as somebody who has a farm of GPUs, I'd be super interested if I could lease them out to train the ML models, but that's not really an easy thing to coordinate. How do you plan on coordinating that?
That's a good question, and it's one area of research that the team had down for phase 2. How do you decentralize intelligence mining? And it's a really important one, because we want to, like everything in the altered state machine, we want to make sure that it is decentralized, that it's not just some meme about how AI connects to blockchain. And that is a fundamental problem to solve. The good news is that the team has made massive progress ahead of schedule on that, and we feel pretty confident we've now got an architecture and a proof of concept that proves that architecture out, that will allow us to offer the opportunity for people like you to set up gyms to train AFAs in specific tasks and decentralize that part of the protocol's processes. So yeah, definitely stay in touch, and as soon as we get the code out for people to have a look at, it'd be great to talk to someone like yourself to go through the process of how that would actually operationalize inside of your GPU farm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Looking forward to that conversation.
Hey, Bessie the Beast. Welcome.
Thank you. Hey, team. Good evening. My question is more on the future of what you think the brains could play a role in. More wondering in terms of what kinds of games do you think the brains are best suited towards? I imagine there's a certain ceiling where the brains could advance. I mean, games that it could be useful for. I was just wondering what you guys' thoughts are.
In all honesty, I don't know if there's a ceiling. I haven't seen the ceiling for what AI is going to be capable of in the future yet. I think we've just started to scratch the surface of what influence AI is going to have on our lives and the way that we enjoy entertainment going forward. As a protocol, we're quite agnostic to the type of AI that's been that you can use and be interoperable with the protocol. So we're not limited by just a single choice, just a single centralized AI server or something like that. And the limit is really the limit on AI in general. And as the protocol evolves and the DAO evolves along with the protocol, I think we'll see stuff that we can't even imagine right now coming out of it. I for one love this gamified AI space and have thousands of dreams of things that we could do with the technology that's available now, but in the future I just can't even imagine.
Yeah, and I think anything that you can imagine a task being trained, an AI being trained for, is something that could apply to the protocol, and the protocol's being designed to be kind of agnostic to different models. There'll be different kinds of NFT brains for different kinds of models. So the AFA personality matrix is one kind. We're already working on another couple of kinds to interact with different ML environments. But the type of games they could interact with, I think it's pretty much as broad as you can imagine, because they can replicate human actions. And so anything that feasibly a human could play, an AFA agent could play. And we already know that some of the most complex games in the world are dominated by AIs if they're put up against humans. So there doesn't seem to be a game format out there that is too tricky for an AI to learn and play. I think what will be the question is which are the fun kinds of games that you can, and fun kinds of tasks that you can have that mix of human enjoyment and AI integration into game environments, because it's no point in making a game that AIs are really good at, but humans don't want to play or engage with. So I think that's the line to walk down. That's really important. And AFA we think is a good format for that. And some games of that genre will be a good format for it. We've got some other ideas about other kinds of games as well. So I think the scope's pretty broad, actually.
Thanks, Aaron and David. And just as a final question, the brains that will be the Genesis brains will be able to interface with future games as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Not just games, but AI experiences in general. So yeah, the plan is not just apply to gaming, but any gamification mechanic that you can think of, really.
Amazing. Well, thank you, everyone.
Cool.
Good evening. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. You too.
Or morning.
You too.
Oh yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Morning.
Hey, Bitcoin Hornet.
Hi, thank you. I had a couple. I came in at 6:30. Apologies again, like other folks had mentioned. I may be asking a question you've already answered.
Okay.
But on Genesis brains, have you said anything? I'm very interested in staking Aristo and in farming brains. Excuse me. I don't know if you gave any color. Said you're going to announce that before Christmas, perhaps. But if you've given any color to that of what the staking metrics are, and or the brain farming mechanics are, and then the second question, I'll just go ahead and put both questions out there. Have you said anything about what makes the Genesis brain special, and when would that be announced if you haven't made that announcement? Thank you.
Cool. So I'll take the second one, and Aaron, do you want to take the first one? So the Genesis brains and being special. So the reason for the Genesis brains, I'll start with that, is to show our support for the community that has supported us from the beginning. So you all have gotten behind the project and really made this project and turned it from an interesting idea into an actual, movement and project. And it's important that we have a way to reward our early supporters now and in the future. So that's the primary purpose of the Genesis brains, is to identify those who have supported us and have the ability to reward that support going forward. One of those rewards is early access to game mechanics and early access to protocol mechanics. So you guys can get in there first, and because you know the project and you followed it from the beginning, you can give us feedback on how they're working. The DAO, you can get involved in the DAO and tweaking how the mechanics play out once they're released. And also you get access to interacting with those mechanics early on. And some of those ones, mechanics that we've talked about before on the AMAs, are things like the hereditary AI, getting access to that as Genesis brains, which is I don't know how much information we have released about hereditary AI, but it's along the lines of breeding and cloning of the actual AI and its ability to perform tasks, which is pretty dope. So that hopefully that answers your question.
It's a start. Thank you. No, that's very good.
Cool.
And what was question 1 again?
No, I'm really interested in Astro staking and farming brains, and I just was asking if you had any color you could give, or if you've
Yeah. So the mechanics are deposit some kind of collateral into the farming contract, receive a yield in Asto tokens, and then deposit those Asto tokens in a brain farm and yield ASM brains. That's the kind of basics of the mechanics to get from what you have now to an ASM brain. And the idea is to engineer the initial pull curves for Asto tokens and brain pools so that there are enough brains in population to have the 10,000 AFA teams play when the AFA game launches.
So if you farm a brain and you create a brain with your farming mechanism, how do you sell it? Or is there an open marketplace for that? Is it on OpenSea?
Brains are NFTs. So anywhere you can sell your NFT is where you can sell a brain.
Okay, and will you have a marketplace within ASM network? Do I have to go to OpenSea with my brain, or do you have a mechanism like, for instance, the Sandbox has its own internal marketplace?
Not necessary on phase 1, because the brains that come out are kind of virgin brains. Let's say they don't know anything, and so what you'll see is what attributes they have and what that kind of genome looks like, and so that's easily kind of tradable in a marketplace like OpenSea or others. And the second stage of where kind of an internal marketplace might make sense is within a context of a specific skill or environment. So we might want to include a marketplace inside of the AFA game, for example, because that will have other metadata associated with those brains, like their performance at a particular task, how many goals they scored or whatever it happens to be. So I think in phase 1, it'll be, the public marketplaces. We're hoping that we can list them on Universe XYZ as one of their first projects, marketplace projects. And then the second phase will be, on skill-specific environments, they may want to set up marketplaces for those skills.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Good Monster, hello.
Hello. I have a question. I'm hoping to use my brains in my sandbox land on my NPCs. I'm curious if you guys have considered that, and if so, how soon would we be able to start using them on sandbox NPCs?
Yeah, in terms of the actual characters themselves, as long as your characters are portable to environments, you could start using your characters with an AFA brain when AFA brains are launched, so long as someone makes a task for those characters. And for us, we've got some plans around how to integrate other collections into the AFA game mechanics. But in terms of integrating into a specific environment like Sandbox's environment, that's a decision they have to make, not us. And so we can't give a timeline for that, but it's something that we're definitely interested in. We're already kind of having conversations around how we can work into different metaverse worlds, because they have to kind of provide the interface for people to upload their ASM into those environments. There is a secondary way to do it, which is kind of plugging into the heuristics of those environments through a side kind of SDK, which is something that we have the capability to do, but we'd rather do the native integrations.
Cool. Yeah, because I just think it would be it'd be pretty epic to be able to, I don't know, teach a Cyber Kong to, play catch with people as they enter your sandbox land or something.
Totally. That's exactly what we want the protocol to be.
That would be awesome. And I also think it would be, I think, Sandbox already kind of has something similar to this, but I also think it'd be cool if you could have a way to create kind of like a script where players could kind of build their own story that's much more varied. If you can teach your characters using the AI to have more diverse dialogue with them. So that type of thing too would be cool.
Yep.
Yeah, chats is an area that we want to take our time on, because people's expectation of what's possible there, and who's that?
Sorry, that's my daughter.
No, I'm bro. I've got a 2-week-old, so I know exactly the feeling. I know the vibe. Where was I before I was distracted by that lovely little girl's voice? The type of experience people expect from a chatbot is one that's kind of high, and we want to make sure that when we release a functionality like that, that it meets those expectations, and that it's something that's actually fun and useful. So that's got to be something the team's going to spend a bit more time on to make sure we nail properly, because otherwise it'll just come off as naff and not very useful. Yeah.
I think the uncanny valley effect on chatbot AIs is we haven't gotten through that valley yet. The technology's not quite there, and being so close to being there as it is now, it is deep in that uncanny valley, and it's quite unsettling to interact with them. So it's a little bit more, the industry as a whole needs to push a little bit more in that direction before you start seeing these really cool and rich experiences. But it's getting close, and it's really cool to see it being developed.
Right on. Well, thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for this project. Everything you're doing is pretty cool. So thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks
man.
Thank you. Teal, nice to see you. Welcome.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's up, man?
Welcome.
Dude, Aaron, you have a 2-week-old. I can't imagine how you handle all the things that you handle. And a 2-week-old. That's crazy.
Yeah, I have a good team, and my wife's amazing.
Good answer.
Nice. Yeah, that was a good answer, especially if she's listening. So I'm wondering, this is like conjecture or speculation, is there potentially more than 10,000 Genesis brains, such as the brains that come with the thingies?
No. Only ever will be 10,000 Genesis brains. And as I said before, it's for you guys. I mean, you guys made this project, right? Everybody who's on this Discord and interacting with us every day and giving us feedback and supporting the project. I'm super passionate about a long-term supporting you guys back. And the Genesis brains is the engine in which we'll deliver that.
Okay, and in a way that, thingies will be linked to and harvesting mycelium, is there going to be a relationship between thingies and Asto?
unrevealed. and on the thingies brains, we've obviously got good big plans for that. So we'll be keen to share those with you guys soon. I think the mechanics around how brains and thingies works is going to be really cool, but it is going to be a new kind of interaction for the ASM protocol.
Very cool. Thanks, guys. Love what you're doing as always.
Cheers.
Thank you. Hey, welcome back, Reed.
Thanks so much. Just another quick question. What is the data that will be used for the training?
Sorry,
for training what? For training the APIs?
Yes.
It depends on the task. Yeah. So some ASM's agnostic to machine models, and so machine learning models, and so it depends on the task. And some tasks don't require data inputs to train on. So if you look at AFA, for example, it's an experiential learning process. So it learns by playing the game, and therefore there's no external data needed except for the game environment and the constraints in the game environment. So it really depends on the task that you're trying to get your ASM to do, whether there is a data requirement, and therefore where you get that data from is really up to you.
Yeah, so for AFA, it'll be reinforcement learning using Open Neural Network Exchange.
Thank you.
Cool.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you. That is the last of our hands up. Let's check the channel to see if we have any text questions.
We've got another hands up.
Hands up in the house.
Yo, Max Poker, I've invited you up. Hey, welcome.
Welcome, Max.
What's going on?
Hey.
Is my microphone okay?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, man.
So I know that you are working on integrating with both thingies and fluffs. You've made that clear. And I was wondering if you've made any plans. I know the protocol is designed to be able to deal with a lot of different characters, but are there any plans for a specific third character or anything like that?
So yeah, we want to integrate with as many projects as possible. Within the fluff world, I know they're not just stopping at thingies. I'm not gonna leak their alpha. That's Aaron's job. But specifically within the fluff world, that world is growing, and it's going to continue to grow. And the plans they have on the table are fucking awesome. And you can expect that ASM will be alongside a lot of those plans. And as for the wider NFT space, we're in discussions with a whole lot of projects at the moment. But it's important to note that Fluffs is ahead of the game in a lot of respects. It kind of started a new revolution in the NFT space around the quality of the multimedia experience behind NFTs. So a lot of other projects are just starting now or playing catch up to get to where Fluffs are already. So you'll probably see those integrations with those projects come out later on as they come up and reach the bar that Fluffs have set.
Yeah, I mean, everything we do in Fluff World is we've planned from the start and the research around doing the whole non-fungible labs venture was like, what does the metaverse look like in the future? What's the thing that people have in their minds and their imagination for this metaverse? And then take the steps back from there to figure out what's necessary to create content that is suitable to exist in those environments. And part of that, a big part of that process is, how do you bring richness to metaverse experiences through intelligence? And so when we designed the architecture for Fluff and Fluff Worlds and all the characters that come through Fluff World, it's always thinking about how can we make these things useful in a metaverse space, and part of that is giving them this intelligence capability. So it's like every character we come out with will have a link back to intelligence, because we think that's a fundamental ingredient of making rich metaverse experiences for the characters themselves.
Yeah, it's an iceberg situation here where you don't just need a 3D rendered piece of artwork for these things to work within metaverse spaces. There's a whole bunch of stuff underneath that needs to be built when you build the project, or if you haven't done that when you build the project, you've got to chuck out everything you've done beforehand and start from scratch again to make things, broadly speaking, metaverse enabled. So the projects, a few of the projects that we're talking to at the moment are going through that exercise, and some of them are starting from scratch with that ethos, which is good to see.
You guys are amazing.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Cheers.
Quite a few questions in Ask Us Anything.
Gonna chuck us some?
Chuck us some.
Let's go. All right. So Reed asks, why did the project attempt to get a patent versus open source?
Yeah, this
Great
is really
question.
super important thing to address, and it comes up occasionally. If we don't get a patent for an open source project, then someone can come along and make a slight change, take our code, the open source code, make a slight change to it, and then patent it and lock out the community from being able to innovate further, which is super dangerous. So when
there's two reasons you get a patent. And one of those reasons is called freedom to operate. So if you're thinking about this process, patents can be useful in certain circumstances and they're not useful in others. And actually, it's overused in terms of people kind of applying for patents for things when actually their strategy would be better to keep trade secrets or those kinds of things if they were trying to protect their IP. But patents, the whole patent system actually is designed to provide disclosure to the community of methods and encourage innovation and building on top of ideas. That's why patents exist. In people's mind, they actually see the reverse of that. They see that as a way to constrict community engagement, but actually the patenting process is explicitly designed to allow disclosure in a way that allows the people who came up with those inventions to have some limited advantage to ensure that they have a incentive to disclose that innovation so people can build on top of it. So the purpose is disclosure of a patent. And then when you do that, one of the reasons you do it is for this thing called freedom to operate, which is the ability for you to allow people to use that innovation and not have some troll come on top of you and stop the community from doing those things. So our purpose in applying for these patents is to give freedom to operate to users of the ASM protocol. And make sure that everyone who uses this community tool on this community protocol has the ability to do that without worrying that some troll's going to come on top of them. And also not worry that the effort they're putting into this DAO, into this community, into this open source project isn't usurped by somebody else either. And they know that the investment in time and effort and capital that they're making in making ASM successful can be contained to the ASM protocol and for the benefit of all the protocol owners.
Good answer.
Thanks.
Yeah, that is an important question. I'm glad someone asked that. Let's just scan again for one last question, unless, we've got a hand up. The studio. I've invited you up to the stage. Hey, our fellow mod.
Hey, how's it going?
Cool. Pretty dreary day in Auckland.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Good though. Need a bit of rain.
Yeah, it's nice for the gardens. I've got a couple questions that keep coming up. Oh, actually, just one because you've already answered one. We know about switching brains and putting them into different things, but is there a locking mechanic where a brain can be put in a NFT permanently and learn permanently?
Let's not leak anything on that front yet.
All right,
David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Maybe.
I'll zip it. And another thing, on the last AMA, quite early on, someone talked about renting brains. So is that like how the DAO works? Kind of like people like stake a brain and then it gets rented out, or is it more?
Yeah. So again, one of these things about making sure your projects are metaverse ready is considering how they operate in an economic context. Because one of the cool things about the real metaverse is it's this blend of social and gaming and finance. And if you miss the last part, it's kind of a big kind of opportunity lost. And so when these assets exist, you want them to be able to interact with protocols that allow for financial mechanics to be applied to those assets in the metaverse. And one of those things we think will be really interesting for brains is renting them out or leasing them out. You can imagine someone wants to go into an all-star match with a character or specific character for that specific match, but they maybe can't afford to buy the whole thing, but they want to power up for that match. They could rent it off someone else. Likewise, a brain, for a specific task could be leased out to somebody for a period of time. And that's why we're quite tight with the InterDAO community, because they're building all those protocol mechanics that we can integrate with for AFA content. So, and for ASM brains. And so they're kind of building that protocol layer in InterDAO, and we are working alongside them to make sure that our assets can integrate with their protocols.
And just that was an amazing answer. And also on the individual,
and they're actually doing some really great work. If you're a developer out there and you follow the EIP process, they've just proposed a new specification for enhancing the capabilities around renting NFTs.
Great. Amazing. And so you're all just on the forefront doing it together.
Yeah.
On the individual level, I can't afford a fluff, but can I get someone with a fluff and rent my brain to them, which would add value to my brain?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's definitely a feasible scenario. And if you can't afford a fluff, that's one of the reasons why we've introduced things like thingies into the community, so that we can get.
I've got a super cute
one.
Oh, awesome!
You're a fluffer then.
Amazing art. Yeah, yeah. I got my foot in the door.
Cool.
Sweet. So yeah, that was basically my question. And have a great day. You guys are all doing great things.
Awesome.
Hey,
Thanks, Aaron. Really appreciate it.
Oh, and the community. You guys are amazing. I love it.
That's true. And we really appreciate the work you're putting into helping us out with the community. I can't be there 24/7. So having you in there and answering questions and helping everybody out has been such a big help. So I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, massive shout out to our mods.
Yeah.
Yes.
To all our mods. Yeah.
Yeah. All the mods. We keep it in check.
Thanks, Ray.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Hey, so I guess that wraps us up. We're 1:10 now. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to put them in, Settled World, or ask us anything, join the conversation, and we will always be around to answer your questions. Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Thanks,
awesome.
guys.
Thanks, everyone.
And have a good weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
Ciao.
Guys, bye.
Stop the burning. I just want to feel that heat burn out. Can't stop wanting from my luncheon like dance killer. Lights out, pull the trigger. I just want to feel that free. Lights out, I'm here with you now. Nothing more but night dance killer. Lights out, stop the burning. I just want to feel that heat burn out. Can't stop wanting from my luncheon like dance killer. Lights out, pull the trigger. I just want to feel that free. Lights out, I'm here with you now. Nothing more but your dance killer. Lights out, stop the burning. I just want to